Welcome back to part 2 of the timing on the Nissan, guys. You saw where we left off on the last video was we were putting the passenger side valve cover on. Now, where we're picking up in this video, it's all done. All the timing's installed, but trust me, the driver's side is exactly the same as the passenger side. We pulled the valve cover off. We did the secondary timing chain as well as the sprocket. We also did the tensioner in there, and it's all the same. You have to take the front cam cap off in order to get that tensioner in there. Everything's exactly the same, just a couple of different bolt positions and stuff like that. Nothing too major. We also already did the primary timing chain as well as the guides. It's super easy to install. You just drape it on there. You make sure your slack is on the tensioner side. Make sure your guides are in there, bolted properly and torqued to spec, all that stuff. Nothing really major. Let's go ahead and get it right into it, guys. Just finishing it up now. What do we got? We got new secondaries. Make sure you're on your marks there. And then back there you can kind of see, maybe if it'll focus, see that orange link? Orange link coincides with a dot on this, you know, right there. But there's another one on the inside. Same thing over here. Line up your two dots. And then a dot on the inside over here. I think, yeah, on the other side of that, there's a green or a dot back in there. And then you got to make sure this line lines up with that little bump out right there. Same thing with the other side, that line right there, that bump out right there. Okay, so, and your new chain, you can see how this primary timing chain has a black link on it, which lines up with that line. Same thing over here. Black link coincides with the line. And then down here, there's a gold link that coincides with that timing mark right there. Then you make sure your keyway is lined up with that mark right, that witness mark right there. And then whole new guides, everything. As you can see, yeah, well, I did have to pull the valve covers, but here's the old ones. Look at this. The old ones were so worn that it was eating into the metal. As you can see right here. See that? How that's worn, obviously, and the plastic's all chewed up and shit. So, like I said, I don't think they changed the secondary tensioners the first time that they did this. I don't think so anyway. I think they just did the outside chain and called it good. I'm not really sure though. But anyways, everything torqued to spec. 76 foot-pounds here, 91 foot-pounds here, same as the other side. But yeah, that's it. Oh, I better put the top piece in. I got another guide. Where's it at? Here it is. This guide. I got to put that on top, and then I can pull the grenade pin. Here we go. As you can see here, I also got a brand new thermostat. Went and got part number 14668. Yeah. So I ended up pulling the old one whenever I was fighting getting the cover off. That was because I didn't realize that the idler pulley was bolted to this like a big dum-dum. So I went ahead, pulled that off, and I'm glad I did, because here's the old one. And if you look in here, you see how the rubber that it seals on is all kind of jacked up in there and stuff. So I'm actually glad that I pulled this and went ahead and replaced it. So this one, the new one, is all metal design. The seal, everything, it's all metal. There's no rubber, which I actually like and prefer. Because metal will always seal unless it gets eaten away or something gets jammed in it or something, but this rubber will obviously degrade over time. So super glad that I got frustrated and pulled this anyway. So yep, brand new thermostat installed. Before we glue on the front cover again and bolt it all back up and all that, we're going to go ahead and change out a bunch of seals on the front here. So we got the front main seal. So just pull the old one out, put the new one in. It's got a recess down in there. There's a lip that you just push it into, and it's like the perfect height. Also, these guys right here, that part number right there, 15066-5E5510 or 5E510. And they look like this. They're kind of weird looking, but these go right here in each side. They're very easy to take in and out, which I did not expect. So I'm not going to put the new ones in yet, out of fear that they may fall out while I'm handling the cover. So that, and you know, these are the oil galleries that go into where those seals are I just put in. So as you can see, I put a brand new O-ring in each one of those. So now it's ready for a final cleanup and gluing it on. Yep. All right, all the surfaces have been prepped. We got some silicone along that bottom edge. As you can see, there's still a bolt in there. It gets stuck on the steering rack, so that's as far out as it could go without us jacking up the engine, but it works out fine. The other bolt for the oil pan is down there, sitting right there. I don't know if you guys can see it right there, so I know which one goes back in there. Everything is prepped and ready. We got the cover. The cover is all siliconed up and ready to go. Got our new front main in there, all ready to go. I hope I didn't put too much silicone, but you know, hey, it's not gonna leak, I guess. But all right, we're getting ready to throw this on now. I realized I didn't oil the chains yet, so you always want to pre-oil your chains so you're not you know, running on the guides dry, because that would suck really bad on initial startup. So went ahead, oiled all the chains, got that all ready to go, and now I would say we are essentially ready to glue this bad boy on. There's some final cleanup here. Right there where I dribbled a little oil. Have a look at the rest of this. The rest of it looks good. Okay, I think we're ready. Double checked our O-rings. Our O-rings are still in and fine. So very, very gently, just go ahead and put this on. Hopefully everything goes as planned. Okay, something's hanging up. Let's see what it is. That's those dowel pins. Gotta fight them a little bit, I guess. It's just my luck. Got a little fight on our hands here. Line this up, line that up. Come on. God dang. We gotta get the bottom on first. That's the trick of it. Use a, oh jeez, just a little fight. So what it is it's that getting it on that pin on the oil pan, but then there's dowel pins to line this up. Hey, looky there. I think we got her. So now we got to get our bolt holes lined up. So here, check this out, guys. Here's what I did. because I wasn't 100% the bolts of different lengths and stuff like that. I just put them into a chunk of cardboard. I know it's a little kooky, but this gives me a rough idea of its exact location as I took it out. So I just cut a hole with a razor knife and stuffed a bolt through it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting that back together. So this goes to show you that no matter how prepared you think you are, there's always something gonna throw you a loop. So I got one last bolt that goes over there on that side, but you can see how many holes there are that it could possibly be. So I'm gonna have to either go back and look in pictures. I gotta figure out where that bolt goes. And that's the only one. The rest of them all went right back to where they were supposed to. So, all right, now I gotta figure that one out. I figured out where that extra bolt went. It's, according to my pictures anyway, I hope they were right, but the second hole up on the left is where that extra, it's a 14 mil head on it. The very last one, that's where that went. So, thank you to the Harley gods for gracing us with the music. So anyways, I'm gonna wait on these covers and stuff. Next we're gonna tackle the Harmonic Balancer. Now, I put a new front main seal in there, and prior to right now, I went ahead and cleaned up the seal surface on this. You see the really shiny, focus, come on. You see the really shiny parts on there? So that is where the seal rides. I went ahead and cleaned that up. When you guys clean this up, well, this goes for pretty much any car. You want to make sure that you can't like dig your nail. Like you want to make sure that those surfaces don't catch your nail. Kind of like cylinder wall, like on the cylinder walls inside. You want to make sure that your fingernail can't actually catch on the, like if there's scratches in it or something. If there are scratches that catch your nail bed, or catch your nail bed, what am I saying? That catch your nail, it means that you definitely need to give it some attention. So this goes the same way. Like I said, just wiped it up, cleaned it up, check it, and for having, you know, over 200,000 miles, it feels perfect. It feels great. But I figured while it was apart, I would go ahead and change the front main. Now we're ready for the Harmonic Balancer. Got the Harmonic Balancer on. The torque specs that I found online were 33 foot-pounds, believe it or not. But it's 33 foot-pounds and then an additional 90 degrees after that. And let me tell you, that additional 90 degrees will put you to the test a little bit. So that's tight, that's torque to spec. What I did was I put a pipe wrench on here and held it. I put a rag over it, but as you can see, I got a light nick in it. So what I did was I went and got a file, made sure that was nice and smooth so it's not gonna hurt anything. So that's ready to go. Looks like next I'm gonna clean these, put the new seals in on both sides. Silicone those up, put the plates on, as well as for the water pump and the tensioner. I got to put all those plates on, and then we'll move on to the next step. Well, here we are another day later. Before I went to bed last night, as you can see, I did get some of the stuff remounted after getting the cover and all the little covers on and stuff like that. This part right here, you can see that it's nice and shiny. That's because the wiring harness for this thing, man, it was like crunchy and like old, so you'd like touch it and or like barely move it and it would start crumbling and falling apart and stuff like that. So I went ahead, took some wire tape, found the parts of the harness that were a little messed up, went ahead and rewrapped them. Now you can get this covering like this, which, you know, all the harnesses have on them. You can get that from pretty much anywhere. They sell it at Harbor Freight, auto parts stores, Amazon, eBay, whatever. But I just went ahead and wrapped it in electrical tape. That's what I have on hand right now. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get busy putting more of this together today. Holler at your boy. Got the new tensioner on there, everything. So if I had any advice for anybody doing this, I always start with the biggest stuff first, hanging off the side, your accessories, stuff like that. There is so there's the bolt that goes through the center of this pulley, and there is a nut on the back side that is a pain to get to. I literally had to come take the fender liner out and jack the truck up to drop the suspension a little bit so I could get my head in here and my arm and stuff like that to get that all put together, but I got it. So now laying the harness in, all the lines, stuff like that in, getting everything hooked up. Right now I'm to the point where I'm going to go ahead and put the fan and fan shroud in, and then we'll do serpentine and more electrical, the intake. Still got to put those gaskets in the bottom of the new gaskets in the bottom of the intake and stuff like that, but making progress. We had to make sure that we got the O2 sensor connector put back in place so it wasn't melting on the exhaust. We got more hoses, solenoids, grounds, the front radiator hoses, upper and lower, the fan shroud, the hoses on the passenger side here, we're getting all hooked up. We got the serpentine belt on. Everything looks correct. More hoses and wiring in the back, little bracket that goes on the back of the intake. Those are intake gaskets right there for the lower. Making a lot of progress. It's going well. Going really well at this stage. We're on the home stretch. Here we are, we're getting ready to prep this intake to get it put back on. First things first, here are the gasket adapter little seals, and they were ridiculously expensive. I had to literally ask the guys at the dealership if they were messing with me. Each one of those, so see there's 3 seals, there's 2 seals per runner, but they're built into pairs like that, see? Each one of those was $14 and change. I walked out of there with 3 gaskets in my hand, spending like $45. It was utterly ridiculous. The guys didn't really know what to tell me. They said prices are going up more and more, which obviously every single one of you guys know that. But yeah, that was a real kick in the wallet going to the dealership for gaskets and seals, that's for sure. So these are real easy to swap out. They got the little pull tab on them, so you just pull the old ones out and grab the new ones, just kind of stuff them down in there like that, press around on them. They go in real easy. Could not believe it. If you guys knew how much money I spent at the dealership, one was the tensioner, then all the gaskets and stuff, man. I spent way more money than I ever thought I would have on that stuff. It was ridiculous. But it was a little peace of mind having these, because the old ones were pretty flattened out. If you look at this side-by-side comparison, you could see there's a decent difference there between the new ones and the old ones. So that taken into account, I felt it was a good idea to go ahead and get some new ones and just toss them in there. One and done, you know. If it wouldn't have sealed, I could have smeared a little RTV on the bottom of the old ones and probably made it seal up, but I decided to just go ahead, get the gaskets, and make sure it's done properly, and don't risk vacuum leaks. Vacuum leaks end up making them idle weird and stuff like that, so try to do our due diligence on that. Going to go ahead and blow off any extra dirt that might be on there before we try to put the intake on. I still got the little paper towels and stuff stuffed in the intake holes, so no worries about that. Go ahead and pull our paper towels out now. These were in there the entire time I was working on this engine in order to keep stuff out of the intake. Be it dirt, grime, whatever, tree nuts, tools. It's a good way to blow up an engine. People lose sockets down in there. Yes, I checked. I have all my 10mm sockets. None are missing. Go ahead, give it a quick wipe with the old meat hook there. Alright, you don't gotta spit shine it, dude. Grab the intake and throw it on there. You got this. go ahead and set your intake back on there. Now remember, there's 2 studs sticking out of there that will locate the intake for you. You just got to make sure it's on there. It'll locate it, and then you just go ahead and put the bolts in and go ahead and torque them down. Don't forget, there is that bracket on the passenger side right by where the throttle body mounts, right where my hand is right now on the passenger side. So remember that. There is that bracket that you got to make sure you get back on there. Or if you left it on there, you got to push the intake inside of it. It's kind of a tight fit, but obviously it should be if it's bracing the intake. I just got done tightening all the 10 mil bolts that hold this down. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts, I think, and 2 studs that take nuts. So this helps locate the intake right there. And along with that, there are 2 bolts right here. See that one? There's that one, and then there's one in the back, but they're both in the same location. That's how the intake is mounted. So now I gotta figure out where I think this was mounted right here. I'll figure it out, but yep, moving on to the next step. So getting all this stuff hooked up. Got the hoses there's a hose on the back side, and then a hose right here. And an electrical connection back there that I got hooked up. Just checking and double checking everything. Now I'm about to throw the throttle body on. I cleaned it out earlier. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a bunch of fuzz and weird stuff growing in here. Makes me think that this truck was sitting in somebody's yard for a while. I repaired another wiring harness, by just taping them up. That one was back over here. This one down here. Yeah, moving forward, getting stuff done. This gasket's still good, or O-ring, whatever you want to call it, seal. That one's still good. Just the other ones were all flattened out on the bottom. This one still sticks out and stuff, so we're good to go. Just bolt our throttle body back on, attach our hoses. It's got 2 hoses that go to it, and then our electrical connection. But like I said, we're going to, so I'm going to get this bolted on, and before I put the top plate back on and the intake and all that stuff, I am going to go ahead and check and double check all the connections around the backside and everything, because we do want to make sure that this thing is 100% back to factory spec before we go firing it up and all that good stuff. So then we'll change the oil, and well, I might start it first. Get some Allens and tighten that thing down. The fuses are over there, but I'll be pulling the fuses for the injectors and the fuel pump in order to prime the oil pressure prior to starting this thing. So we'll prime the oil, build some oil pressure, put the fuses back over there for the injectors and the pump, and then fire it. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this one right here. That one is for the injectors, okay? And also, I'm gonna pull the one for the fuel pump. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a 15 amp. Both of them were 15 amps. So the theory is without the fuel pump and the injectors running, I can turn it over without the possibility of it firing, right? Right, makes sense. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, so when we turn the key to the on position, we should not hear the fuel pump prime or anything like that. So let's have a listen. that's correct. We now are reading a quarter tank of gas. Before the fuel light was on, I wanted to make sure it was really, really low before dropping the tank, so. Okay. Give it a second, we're going to do that again. That should be adequate. We should have oil all over that, so let's go ahead. We'll put those fuses back in. Let's go ahead and put our little fuses back in. 15, both of them are 15s. So here we go. Okay, got that one. And this one. Okay. Well guys, everything went according to plan. You saw me looking under the hood there, no leaks whatsoever. Never found a single leak. No oil, no coolant, no anything. It didn't burn off any coolant. Everything's looking great on it. I've already put a couple thousand miles on it since I did that video, and it's been flawless ever since. It makes good power, it cruises nice, everything's good so far. I look forward to putting many more miles on this truck. You guys got any questions or comments? Go ahead and put them down below in the comments section. Let me know. I'll go ahead and try to go into detail if you guys need anything like that. But come back and visit us next time, and let's see what else we're working on.